Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this week's Friday Reads, which is a 2-week spectacular because I did not post last week. It's going to be a little bit of a short video because I actually haven't been reading all that much, and also I'm like sneaking this video in while I have a moment to do so. But I did want to let you know what I have been reading. And so we're going to start with what I have finished, and that is Chimes at Midnight by Seanan McGuire. So this is the 7th book in the October Days series, which is an adult urban fantasy series that follows our main character of October Day. And she's half fae, half human, and a knight in the fairy realms, and just tends to be the one everybody throws at the weird problems because she just can solve them. And in this one, Toby is deciding to tackle the goblin fruit problem in the kingdom. Essentially, goblin fruit is a really lovely narcotic for the pureblood fae, but if you're a human, any drop of human blood in you, then you become instantly addicted and until you die. And so Toby has a problem with this, and so she decides to try to get rid of it, and the story goes from there. And the last time I talked about this book, I described it as like there are parts that were over dramatic, and I would not describe it that way anymore. I would say more that there's a problem that comes up and people are like, what happened? And Toby gives like the most useless answer every time, and they're like, that doesn't make sense, and she elaborates in the most useless way every time. Like, could we just not? Can you just be straight with people and tell people what's going on? Like, why are we doing this? Anyway, so that was like my big problem, and it did irritate me enough to like affect my enjoyment. But otherwise, this is a great book. Like, there's so many reveals. We're setting up so many things to punch hard in the next book. I just like, this is a book where you don't realize how much is being set up until you get to the next book. So I did enjoy this. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It would have been a 5-star if Toby had been a little bit less dense when talking to people, but still highly enjoyable. And that is all I have finished in 2 weeks. So yeah, what I'm in the middle of currently, I did go ahead and start The Winter Long by Seanan McGuire, which is book 8. So like I said, I've been buddy reading these books, and my friend just jumped right into this one, and I was like, rock on. It's a really, really good book, and I have definitely been enjoying it. So in this one, this is a book that's really difficult to describe pretty much at all. There, like, even the back of the book just says, Toby thought she understood her own past. She thought she knew the score. She was wrong. It's time to learn the truth. That is literally all the description that's on the back of this book, because it's just really difficult to describe. So like, a person from her past shows up and she needs to know why and protect everybody and the whole thing. I'm 258 pages into this, so I have less than 100. It's getting to the point where we're almost at the downhill slide. You know, when you get to there's a point in a book where you get to it and then you just keep reading until the end. We're almost there. I'm very excited. I love this book that has such great reveals, and there's so much. Again, it's very similar to book 4. Book 4, it felt like everything clicked into place and you're like, oh, things actually matter. Book 8 is like that, but like next level. So I'm really excited to finish this. But first, I want to try to finish The Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan, which is the 3rd book in the Magnus Chase series. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. So this is a middle grade, young adult kind of book where we're following Magnus Chase, who in the 1st book dies and goes to Valhalla and has to figure out his place in the world. This is the 3rd and final book of a trilogy. So like, you know, I can't really say much about this except like Magnus is like facing the big bad and doing the whole thing and trying to avert Ragnarok. And I am actually really close to the end on this book. I'm on page 348. So I have like 65 pages left. So I'm really, really close, which is like, thank goodness. I need this to be over. It's not a book I would have ever picked out for myself. I think it is very fitting for a middle grade kind of series, or even young adult kind of series. I have zero real ill will towards it, other than it's not a book I would have picked out for myself. My older child picked it out for me to read, and so I'm not really allowed to DNF it. But I think that if you like middle grade or young adult books, I think it's really good. It's just not my thing. And so there's been a lot of like repetitive action beats that we're getting, where we kind of had that kind of plot beat in the previous two novels. And so it's very predictable, which I don't generally love. But I am getting through it. I'm enjoying it well enough. And like I said, I think that if it were for the intended audience, they would enjoy it much more than I am. So those are the two books that I'm in the middle of. So obviously my priority for the next week is to finish Magnus Chase. I'm actually going to try to finish this tonight. And then I want to finish The Winter Long, which should be an absolute treat for after I finish Magnus Chase. And then after that, the most likely candidates for what I'm picking up next is Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, A Monk and Robot book novella, which I'm very excited about, or potentially The Girl of Fire and Thorns stories. This is 3 short stories set before the first book, The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. So those are the most likely things for me to pick up after The Winter Long, or if my friend jumps right into book 9 for Toby Day, the one that I'm buddy reading with, then I will be also picking that up. Although I don't know if that's going to happen, but maybe. We'll see how that goes. But I think that is it. That is all the updates that I have. I don't know how much I'm going to be reading. I haven't read very much, but I have read more in the last couple days. I don't know. We shall see how it goes. But that is it. So if you have any thoughts or feelings about the books that I talked about in this video, or you want to let me know what you are reading, leave me a comment down below. But that's it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!